بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We are continuing with our studies of Surah Al-Mulk, and Alhamdulillah we had stopped at ayah number 8. We finished ayah number 8, the Nahw and the Sarf. So inshallah today we'll begin with the Nahw of ayah number 9 onwards, and we'll see how far we can get inshallah. Um, Let me just make this screen bigger so that, there we go. Okay. Okay, so we had done, basically we had stopped at تكاد تميز من الغيظ كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير. Every single time a group was thrown into the fire, the keepers of Jahannam would ask them. What would they ask them? ألم يأتكم نذير? Oh, did a warning not come to you? So that's where we stopped. We had stopped. And inshallah today we look at this ayah. So the ayah says, قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير. They responded, yes, a warner did come to us, but كذبنا, we rejected. وقلنا, and we said, ما نزل الله من شيء. Allah did not send anything at all. In antum illa fi dalalin kabir. You are in great misguidance. You are in nothing but great misguidance. Okay, so let's begin. So we have قالوا. قالوا is فعل ماضي. Let's change the language. So this is فعل ماضي, and the فاعل is هم. هم قالوا. The واو الجماعة would be the فاعل in this case, right? And what did they say? So you can see that this entire sentence, where's my pen? I seem to have lost my pen. Give me a second, I'm just going to find it. Okay, so let's continue. So you can see that قالوا بلى, all the way from بلى, from there, قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير. This whole statement could be what they said. So this whole statement would be مقول القول في محل نسب. All right? So that's one way of looking at it. Or you can stop here and you say that this is a statement of the malaika. Those are the two possibilities that we can see in this particular sentence. So anyway, so let's enter. So they say bala. Bala is a harf, right? Harf jawab, just like yes, no. Harf jawab, right? It doesn't have a purpose in grammar. So we don't really need to focus on bala. Qad also is a harf, and here is harf tahqiq because it comes with the madi. When it comes with madi, it means absolutely, it means definitely, it means for sure. Yes, they are showing that it definitely happened, right? And then they say, then we have ja'ana. Ja'ana, again, fi'al madi. And in this case, the dua is the inside pronoun huwa. However, whenever we have the inside pronoun huwa, we normally look outside to see if there's a fa'il, right? And of course, the na here, the na would be مفعول به because it's an attached pronoun. Okay, مفعول به, attached pronoun. And then we see nadir. When we see nadir, we see it is rafa. So the fa'il is actually nadir. So this is fa'il. Okay, so جاءنا نذير, a warner came to us. That's the implication there. فكذبنا, fa harf عطف, connecting back to جاءنا فكذبنا. Awana came to us and we rejected. Right? So كذب فا حرف عطف. كذبنا نحن كذبنا. So كذبنا, this would be فعل again ماضي. It's معطوف to جاءنا and the فاعل is نحن. دنا. كذبنا. This is the فاعل. Right? So it's a pretty straightforward sentence. There's not really anything intricate happening in this particular sentence. And then they continue to say, so فكذبنا فعل ماضي وقلنا واو حرف عطف again, and then قلنا again فعل ماضي and فاعل is نحن دنا there. وقلنا, and again what did we say? Whenever you have the verb قال يقول قلنا, there's always going to be there's always going to be a مفعول به. What did you say? Right? So what did they say? This is what they said. Again, you can look at it as a bracket inside a bracket. Right? So this is another مقول القول. Actually, the first one, you can look at it as it ends there. So قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا. You can look at it, it ends there. And then وقلنا, this is a new bracket. Right? So what did they say? ما نزل الله من شيء. This ما is ما نافي because it's ما of negation. And then we have نزل فعل ماضي again. And the فاعل is the inside pronoun هو. And again, whenever we have هو, we look outside for an outside dua, and then we see لفظ الجلالة is مرفوع in this case. So this is going to be our فاعل. So Allah did not send down. ما نزل الله. ما negation, نزل sending down. Allah here is the لفظ الجلالة is the فاعل, right? And then you have من شيء. Now this min is what we call min زائدة. How did I know that it was min زائدة? Now, the easiest way to know that min is زائدة is if it comes in a sort of like a negated sentence. And here already we see ma is negation, ma is nafi, right? So whenever min comes in a negation, this min is going to be زائدة. ما ذهب من أحد. ما أكل من أحد. No, not a single person ate. This min would be زائدة, right? So min زائدة. What does that mean? That means if you remove it from the sentence, it will not make a difference in the grammar. So it's as if what's being said is ما نزل الله شيئا. شيئا. That means that this شيء is actually the مفعول به في محل نسب. And it's مجرور لفظا. So it is مجرور. You can see it is مجرور لفظا because of min. Min made it مجرور. But معنى, it's actually مفعول به, right? It comes with the meaning of مفعول به. So we'd say this جار مجرور متعلقان, or we can say this, let's say شيئا, this is مفعول به. مفعول به في محل نسب. Let's put it like that so that it's easier to understand. So this, there we go, like that. Okay? So ما نزل الله من شيء إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير. In here, there are several kinds of in. So whenever you encounter in, you encounter ma, you encounter wa, you encounter bi, fi, they have several purposes and functions. You have to ask yourself, what kind of harf is this? What kind is it in? مصدرية? Is it in شرطية? Is it in نافية? And of course, in this case, what will make you understand that it is in نافية? When you see إلا. Whenever you have in plus إلا, it's just like ma plus إلا. This is a template. And therefore, that tells you that this in is نافية. All right, so I'm just going to say in نفي or in نافية. And then أنتم, of course, this is the first rafa, so this is going to be our mubtada. And again, whenever you have a negation template, we talked about this. Whenever you have ma illa, in illa, this illa, we will label it as adatu hasrin. We will not call it adat istithna. We will call it adat hasr. We discussed about this when we were doing the difference between hasr and istithna. Okay, so whenever you have a negation template, this is going to be hasr. And how do we do the grammar of it? We just remove in and illa and we look at it. Okay, antum is mubtada. Therefore, fi dhalalin will be muta'alliq bil khabar. That's it. Bil khabar, and the khabar here is of course mahdhuf, right? Khabar is mahdhuf. And then you have dhalalin kabirin. Four properties, they match. So mawsuf, sifa. So kabir here would be the sifa of dalal. And that's what we have. Okay. So again, it's a very pretty straightforward sentence in this case, and benign, not a lot of grammatical nuances happening. But if you guys have any questions, again, feel free. So now I'm just going to open the translation. I forgot to share it, so let me share it again. This. Okay. So the translation says, we're looking at Mustafa Khattab here. They will reply. Okay. قالوا. They will reply. Why is he saying they will reply when it is قالوا? We've said it's madi. Because this is the case where madi is used to show that this is something that will certainly happen in the future. So madi is used in the meaning of the future. Why? For certainty. Because when you speak in the madi, it's like it's already happened. Like there's no doubt about it. So that's why the madi is used. And they're translating it in the future. They will reply because this is an event that will happen in the day of judgment. This is a scene in Jahannam, right? So they will reply, yes, a warner did come to us, but we denied and said, Allah has revealed nothing. You are extremely astray. Now, you see here the translation, Allah has revealed nothing. This is much stronger than saying Allah hasn't revealed anything. Allah hasn't revealed anything. That's like the normal way of saying it in English. But if you say Allah has revealed nothing, maybe you can even add at all, nothing at all. That even is more emphatic. So you can see that that's how they're trying to capture ما نزل الله من شيء in antum. And again, in illa is the strongest form of negation. So you have laysa, which is like your average negation of jumla ismiya, and then you have ma plus ba harf jar, then you have ma illa, then you have in illa. Like in illa, this is the strongest, right? You completely refuting. So you can see how some of the translators try to capture that. You are extremely astray, like trying to capture that idea of the strongest negation. And then we have T. Usmani. They will say, yes, a warner had come to us, but we had rejected and said, Allah has not revealed anything. Again, I feel like this one it could be stronger because Allah has not revealed anything. It's not the same as Allah has revealed nothing. Nothing is more emphatic than anything. You are only in great error. Okay, so this one is capturing the in illa. You are only in great error. You are nothing but in great error. That kind of like meaning. A warner had come to us, but we denied and said Allah has not sent down anything. This is very, again, not so emphatic, but we know that there's a min zaida, which is making the sentence emphatic. You are not, but in great error. So this in illa structure, nothing but, not but. Then Hilali says, yes, indeed, a warner did come to us, but we belied him. This is again not one word that we normally use, belied. No, reject, deny. These are words that we're familiar with. Anyway, Allah never, but of course, belied would be the literal translation of the word kadhaba. Kadhaba, to call something a lie. Kadhaba, to lie yourself. But kadhaba, I called it a lie. Right? كذبته. I called it a lie. كذبته. I called it a lie. Right? Abdul Halim says, yes, Awana did come to us, but we did not believe him. Now, this is more like um, not a metaphorical meaning, because the opposite of كذب is what? Iman, right? So he's translating it with the opposite. We did not believe him. We said, God has revealed nothing. You are greatly misguided. Again, greatly here. Um, Maybe it could be more, because in antum illa. It's a very emphatic statement. I don't know. We gave the lie to him. Now, this one, I don't even understand what it means. We gave the lie to him. What do you mean you gave the lie to him? I don't know. Allah Ta'ala alam. Anyway. And of course, pictorial is a bit old English. Allah hath not revealed. Ye are in not, but oh my God, it just sounds it sounds interesting. Anyway, so that's pretty much there's not much going on, and we have the layered translation by Dr. Suhaib. So they reply, yes, indeed, a warner did come to us, but we denied and said, God has not sent down a single thing. So you can see that emphatic min shay'in, a single thing. That means that either coming out there, you are in nothing but great misguidance in illa structure. And of course, you can expand this and get more benefit from that ayah. All right, let's continue, unless there's a question, but we can continue here. So we have the sarf. So we'll quickly go through the sarf, and then inshallah we'll continue with ayah number 10, and we'll see how much we can be able to do. Okay, so ulqu. So we have, what am I doing? Laqiya, right? And this is from family number 4. Alqa yulqi, aslama yuslimu. And ulqu. Now I have to ask myself, what kind of sigha is this? Of course, it looks like madi, but what kind of madi is it? And then you realize that it's not. If it was madi, it would be alqa. If it was active, but this is not active, right? So this is. It's not amr, actually. It's madi, but what kind of madi is it?
Majhul.
Majhul, precisely. So this is majhul. We don't know who's doing the throwing, right? So majhul. This is madi majhul. Now let's try and do the sarf. صغير ألقى يلقي إلقاء فهو ملق, right? And now you come to the passive line. It's supposed to be ulqiya, because again ui sound. Ulqiya I, yeah, ui ulqiya yulqa for the mudara. يلقى. Again, the masdar is إلقاء فهو ملقا. That would be the مفعول به. Now ألقي, this is the هو version. هو ألقي. But here we have ألقوا. So we have to get to ألقوا. So how do we get there? Let's see. So we have ألقي, and then ألقيا هما ألقيا. Now, if it was the home version, it was supposed to be ulqi you. But what do we do with such sounds, disgusting sounds? Ulqi you? No, we don't want ulqi you. So what happens is that the weak letter drops, delete it, and now we have, because the dhamma was on the ya, the dhamma goes back to the kaf. No, now the kasra disappears, because now we have to maintain the dhamma. So now you have ulqu, because dhamma likes waw. Kasra likes ya. But because the ya went away, we're left with waw. So now we have the dhamma staying. So now that's how we came to ulqu. This is what we're looking for. Right? And what does it mean? They were tossed or thrown. Ulama ulqiya. Right? Then we have sami'u. So sa This is one of the families that we memorized in the Baina program, so it should be at the back of your mind. This is actually Sami'a family. So, and Sami'u is Madi, of course. So, Sami'a, يسمع, سمع, سمعا would be the masdar. فهو سامع, right? سامع. And of course, سمعوا, like we said, is the ماضي. So we'll take the ماضي and do the صرف كبير. So هو سمع, هما سمعا, هم سمعوا. Oh, there it is. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And what does it mean? They, of course, in this context, it's talking about the future, they will hear. But of course, we're going to translate it literally because in the mother, it means they heard it. They heard it. But of course, in this surah, it means they will hear because it has not yet happened, right? And then we have shahiqan. I'm just going to confirm this. I don't remember if it is daraba family or فتح شهق شهيقة. Yeah, سمع. Okay, I wasn't sure. Where are we? Here we are. Okay. So this sha, ha, qa, and this one, like we said, is also sami'a family. And this one is actually the masdar. I don't know if we mentioned this in the explanation bit. I don't know. I don't think we've covered number 9. Oh no, this is number 7. Yes, we talked about this, right? Shahiqan, that heavy breathing. Shahiqa yashhaqu, to, like shahiq would be inhaling, right? So that inhalation, a breath would be shahiq. So that's a masdar. So shahiqa yashhaqu, shahiq, which is now the masdar, which is what we are talking about. فهو شاهق. شاهق. So shahiq is the word that we're looking for, of course. And what does it mean? Breath or inhalation. Yeah. يعني like with the masdar meaning. And then we have tafur, fara yafuru, fara tanur. We have it in the Quran regarding the story of Noah. When it floods, when the tanur, when the oven floods, that is a sign that Noah needs to get out because it's about to, you know, flood. Anyway, so this is fawara, okay, and it's ajwaf. You can see the waw in the middle. It means it's hollow in the middle. So this is fara yafuru nasara yansuru. And tafur, this is mudara, and it's the here version. Okay, it could be either, when you see ta at the beginning, it could either be anta or it could be here version. But because here, we're talking about the nar, we're talking about the fire, and nar in Arabic is considered feminine, so that's why it's tafur here version. Okay, so now when we're doing the sarf صغير here, so this is fara yafuru fawaran. This is the masdar, fawaran. It has other masadir, there are other kinds. Remember, family 1 has so many different masdars that you can find, but fawaran is the common one, like some floods, right? Boiling. Sorry, what am I saying? Floods for? Subhanallah. Oh yeah, inhalation. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's why even it's refusing my double L. فار يفور فوران فهو ثائر. Like قال يقول قولا فهو قائل. Right? ثائر. And of course, and then the here version. I mean, we want the مضارع. So يفور. يفوران. يفورون. تفور, which is what we are looking for, right? and that did not work. تفوران يفرن. We go back to the ya for the Huna version. And this is the one that we're looking for because it means ya version, right? Okay. So boil over. Or even flow out. Like, you know, when the water is blowing and it's bubbling and it's just flowing out. That's the idea, right? Yeah. So that's what we have. Of course, here is the here version, so she or it. That's what it means, all right? And then we have tamayezu. We talked about tamayezu. So ma, ya, za, those are the root letters. And this we said is actually tamayyaza, yatamayyazu. And that's family 5, right? And tamayyazu, here, it doesn't look like a mudhara, but it's actually mudhara because one ta has been omitted for takhfif to make it so that not even a single crack, not even a single break, not even a single tear happened to Jahannam, right? So it's supposed to be tamayyaza yatamayyazu. يتميز تميز فهو متميز تميز يتميز. So this is what we are looking at. يتميز هو يتميز هما يتميزان هم يتميزون. But what happened to of course we continue and here تتميز, that's where the changes started happening. So here تتميز هما تتميزان هن يتميزن. So now here from تتميز, instead of تتميز, now we had one ta being eliminated, and now we have تميز. This happens a lot in the Quran. So you'll notice that one ta gets eliminated. Instead of تتذكروا, تذكروا, تميزوا, and so on and so forth. So you have such like words happening. And what does it mean? Of course, it uh, I'm gonna say cracks, or how did I translate this? Break into pieces or tears? Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. To tear. It tears or breaks into pieces, something like that. And then we have sa'ala. It should be easy enough because it's a very common. I think we also looked at this word in Baina. So sa'ala. And this is, which family is this? سأل يسأل فتح يفتح. And this is ماضي again, but ماضي in the meaning of the future. ماضي used to mean something that will happen. So, and then we have صرف صغير. So سأل يسأل سؤال. سؤال فهو سائل. So this is the one. سأل. So سأل هما سألا هم سألوا. Pretty straightforward. And that means he asked. He asked them. Because again here هم مفعول به. He asked them. جاءنا. جاء. Yeah, those are the جذر. And جاء يجيء. ضرب يضرب. Okay. And again ماضي but in the meaning of the future. The whole context is said in Madi, but in the meaning of the future. So جاءنا, so we have جاء, يجيء, يجيء, جيء is the masdar. It's not really used so much. جاء يجيء جيء فهو جاء, right? And the whole version, the جاء ماضي is what we're looking for. So هما جاء, هم جاءوا. But of course, this is the one we're looking at. جاء, and of course the na is the مفعول به. He came to us. That's the literal meaning. He came to us. But of course, in the ayah, we realize that Nadir is the fa'il. So a warner came to us. فكذبنا. Fa, we said حرف عطف. So كذب. So we have كاف, ذال, and ba. And this is family too. You can see the shadda. كذبنا again. Same stuff. ماضي in the context of the future. So كذب, يكذب. تكذيب, just like علم يعلم, تعليم, تكذيب. And of course, it's the ماضي that we're interested in. So هو كذب, هما كذبا, and هم كذبوا. Oh, it's كذبنا. Okay, so we have to continue. If you continue كذب, كذبوا, هي كذبت, كذبتا, كذبنا, كذبت, كذبت, كذبتما, كذبتم, كذبت أنا. Or كذبتي, كذبتما, كذبتن, and then كذبت, and then كذبنا. So نحن كذبنا. This is the one we're looking for. What does it mean? It means we denied, rejected, and belied, if you want to use that word as well. Finally, we have نزل. So نزل, نون, زال, لام. Simple, pretty straightforward. Again, family too. And you can see again, this كذب and نزل family too, sometimes it is used to indicate hyperbole, in extreme. Sometimes it is used like, so we just didn't deny once, like we extremely denied, or we kept on denying, we kept on rejecting. It could also show progression, like تكثير. يعني you denied it so many times, right? So that's the idea here. ما نزل. Allah did not send anything at all. The hyperbole aspect of it. Again, this is also ماضي. So نزل ينزل. Again, تنزيل, similar pattern. فهو منزل. So نزل. هو نزل, هما نزلاهم, نزلوا. But of course, it's the هو version that we're looking at. And this means he brought down. He brought down. Okay, I hope that's clear. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so now we are pretty much done with that section. So we go to ayah number 10. وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير. So they said, وقالوا, واو حرف عطف, again connecting back to كذب, فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير. So واو حرف عطف, we're familiar with that. قالوا فعل ماضي, and the فاعل is واو الجماعة or هم version. قالوا هم. لو, what is لو? أداة شرط. Okay, لو شرطية. And then كنا, what is كنا? كنا is فعل ناقص, right? And it's كان and it's اسم. So كان and it's اسم together. So this is the نحن version. كنا, نحن كنا, right? كان هو, كانا هما. All the way, if you do the sarf, you come to كنا, which is نحن كنا, right? So this, I'm just going to write مبتدا because that's how we're used to writing it. كان and its اسم together they form the مبتدا, and whatever comes after it كنا نسمع أو نعقل would be the في محل نصب خبر of كان, right? So نسمع, again when we enter into نسمع, we notice that نسمع is فعل مضارع and the فاعل is نحن. كنا نسمع نحن. أو حرف عطف just like و, just like فا, and so on and so forth. There's so many حروف عاطفة. So واو أو is also حرف عطف. أو نعقل, again نسمع أو نعقل, whether we listen or we uh, understand, comprehend, ponder. Again, so this one, I'll just copy the same thing because it's the same thing here. نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير. Same stuff happening. So ما كنا في أصحاب السعير. لو ما كنا. So we said لو is شرطية. كنا would be like the فعل الشرطية. So yes, go ahead.
ما جواب الشرط.
Yes, ما جواب الشرط here. So okay, so not ما جواب الشرط, but this whole sentence would be the جواب الشرط. Here ما is actually ما نافية. So ما نفي is ما of
Okay.
negation, right? And whenever you have ma of negation, it never comes with the, normally whenever you have law, you have a lam, right? Law this, la this. Like it's always law, la. But whenever you have a
لا is
negation,
missing.
sorry, go on.
In negation, la is missing.
Yes, in negation, the lam is dropped. You don't have the lam, right? So that's how you know that this sentence is jawab. Okay, because this is negation, so the lam is dropped. Normally, whenever we see the lam, we know this is jawab automatically because that lam al jawab. But now here the lam is missing. Why? Because it's negation. Ma kunna, again we've done kunna. So في أصحاب السعير. في we know is حرف جر. أصحابي اسم مجرور. Together they're متعلقان بخبر. Because خبر of كان. Right? متعلقان بخبر كان. Or this kunna here. Right? So that's, and then we have ashabi is light no'al. And then it's followed by as-sa'iri, which is majroor. So that tells you that this ashabi is mudaf and as-sa'iri is mudaf ilayh. Right? I hope that's clear. And that's basically ayah number 10. It's again another pretty straightforward ayah. Not so much happening as you can see in terms of grammar, but let's just look at some of the translations here. We see if anything of note has been mentioned. So Mustafa Khattab says, and they will lament. Okay, وقالوا. Even though it says وقالوا, so he's reading more than just the words. Like he's reading the emotion behind the word. They will lament. It's not that they will just say. No, it was more like they will say out of regret. If only we had listened or reasoned. So this saying is not the same as just me saying, like, for example, I slept. When you say I slept, it's just there's no emotion behind it. But when you say when you say, "Law, I wish, if only had done this," there's regret behind that statement. There's an emotion behind that statement, and that's probably why Dr. Mustafa Khattab is saying, "And they will lament." If only we had listened and reasoned, we would not be among the residents of the blaze. Okay, again, pretty straightforward. And they will say, had we been listening or understanding? See, now look at the difference. Mustafa Khattab translated it as Madi because now, again, you have to understand what's happening. This is something that has not yet happened. It's a conversation in the future about the past, right? So these people are in the future and they are talking about the past. They wish they had done something in the past. But the situation itself has not happened. But then you have T. Usmani translating it literally as mudara. If had we been listening or understanding, right, we would not have been among the people of the blaze. So we start to appreciate, the different from law, this is مقول القول مفعول به في محل نسب. Absolutely, yes. So this whole sentence لو كنا نسمع ونعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير إذ مقول القول في محل نسب مفعول به. Right. And that's why you can see all of them are putting quotes, right? Because it's مفعول به, quotes. And they will say, if only we had been listening or reasoning, so you can see the same translation as mudara, not as madi, we would not be among the companions of the blaze. Then Abdul Halim also translated as Mustafa Khattab, we had listened and reasoned. Why? Because this is a conversation that is happening in the future about the past. So now they're regretting their past. And that's why it is in the madi, even though literally the wording of it is mudara, na'qil. We just did the sarf, you know. نسمع نعقل. It's مضارع, right? Would not be. Okay. Where are we? Oh, here. Had we but listened or used our intelligence, we would not have been among the dwellers. Okay, so again, more or less the same translation. Not much is going on here. If we had only listened and understood, and there's a footnote here if you were interested in reading it, we would not be among the inmates of the blazing fire. So ashab, you can see the different ways in which they're translating ashab, residents, people, companions, inhabitants, dwellers, inmates, right? So whatever fits with the context, right? And then you have the layered translation as well. So the people go on to say, if we had only listened or used our reason, we would not have ended up among the denizens of the place. Now we see a new word here. Instead of, for ashab, instead of companions, dwellers, inhabitants, inmates, now we have denizens. I don't know. I don't really know what that means, but yeah, it's a new word, I suppose. And that's basically what's happening in ayah number 10. Again, not so much happening in that ayah. It's a very pretty straightforward, even the grammar is straightforward, the meaning is straightforward. So let's look at ayah number 11, inshallah. And maybe we might even do up to 12. Let's see. فحرف عطف, just again continuing the same discussion. فاعترفوا, immediately what happened? فاعترفوا بذنبهم. They admitted their sin, they confessed their sin. So اعترف يعترف, this is going to be ماضي here. They know they have committed other sins. I'm not so sure I understand. Which L removed? Where? Anyway, go on.
Removal of the lam jawab al-shart. This is actually reading from my notes.
Okay.
Notes. The stress is removed because in their hearts they know that there were other sins which would lead them to hellfire.
Okay, that's interesting. I've never come across that. But normally, whenever you have a negation structure, you don't say the lam. That's like a grammar rule. Like you don't say وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل لما كنا. I mean, it's a bit odd. Maybe it happens, but it's not grammatically correct. The correct way is to get rid of the lam because the lam, this is a negation, the lam is not there. That's the rule. That's the understanding. But maybe that's something I can research further to see if lam can come in a jawab that is negation. But so far, from what I know, is that it's a rule that lam does not come in a negated sentence. Okay. فحرف عطف, like we've said, اعترف فعل ماضي, and of course here is the hum version, اعترفوا. So the wow here is indicating to us that is hum version. اعترفوا بذنبهم. با حرف جار, ذنبي اسم مجرور, ذنبي مضاف, the attached pronoun مضاف إليه. But this, what is this? How is it connected? This is متعلق to اعترف. Normally اعترف is kind of married to حرف جار با. So when you're confessing your sin, اعترف بذنب, اعترف بشيء ما, يعني تعترف ب. Yeah, so it comes with ba. So this is going to be متعلق. I'm just going to write متعلقاني, and of course the whom is the مضاف إليه. Because of space, I'm gonna skip that because سحقا has a little bit of discussion. So you have fa. Again, fa حرف عطف. So you see so many حرف عطف, so many حروف. We had واو, fa, أو. Now again, so many fas. So again, fa حرف عطف connecting to that whole statement that they keep on saying. And then you have the word سحقا. سحقا is a masdar. Okay? So what is happening? And whenever you have a masdar that is mansoob, what does that tell you? When you have a masdar that is mansoob, what does that tell you? That means that there's a jumla fi'aliyah somewhere. And this suhqan is maf'ul mutlaq.
To
That's,
a missing, to a missing,
yes, to a missing فعل.
no. Okay.
مفعول مطلق لفعل محذوف. So أسحقهم الله فسحقا, right? So that's kind of like the end. So, and in this context, it could mean two things. It could either mean that um, it's a dua for them, let them be far away. So suhkan means being far away. Sahuqa, to be far away, just like ba'uda, to be far away, right? So it could be like a dua. When you say suhqan lahum, it's like you're praying, let them be far away. But it could also indicate their status, how they are. They are completely far away. Like they are so distant, they're so damned, they're so completely so away, removed, far removed from reality, from truth, from forgiveness, from whatever is being intended here. So those are the two meanings that this word could bring about. Either it's a dua, Allah is making a dua for them, let them be far away, or it's actually explaining their situation, they are completely far away. For suhqan, right? So that's one way of understanding. The other way, grammarians have said that it could also be a maf'ul bihi to a fi'l that is mahduf, that is not necessarily ashaqa. So ashaqa to make somebody far away. So ashaqa, ishaq. That's we expected ishaq, but now it's suhqan, which is from a different family, right? So far away, and which means like they are distant, right? So that's the idea. So it's either a مفعول مطلق لفعل محذوف or a مفعول به لفعل محذوف still, right? Whether you look at it as a مفعول مطلق, which adds emphasis, or just a simple مفعول به, which would be like a normal, no emphasis there, right? But of course, I think it sounds better as a مفعول مطلق لفعل محذوف. اوكي لأصحاب السعير لام حرف جار أصحابي اسم مجرور again أصحابي مضاف السعير مضاف إليه. We've done this structure before, so we're just gonna cruise over. متعلقان لسحقا. So this لام حرف جار, it goes back to سحقا. That's an important thing because whenever you have jar majroor and it's متعلق, it could be متعلق to anything. You need to know it's not just we learned متعلق بالفعل, متعلق بالخبر, but we didn't learn متعلق something else, right? So now we're learning that متعلق could be متعلق to a مفعول به, متعلق to, like in this case مفعول مطلق. It could be متعلق to a حال, could be متعلق to anything, pretty much, depending on what the context is. All right, and a sa'ir, we've already said this is a na'at or a sifa, however you want to call it. Sorry, مضاف إليه. عفوا, pardon me. مضاف إليه. السعير. Okay, let's quickly look at some translations here. Again, it's a very straightforward sentence, so not much. And so they will confess their sins. Again, here is very interesting. Mustafa Khattab says sins, and it's not dunub, it's dhanb. It's just one. So why is he translating as dunub? بذنبهم فاعترفوا بذنبهم. They confessed their sin, one sin, right? So very interesting. So and I think it could be because you know that one sin that they are confessing, it's the mother of all sins. It's like if you confess that one sin, it's like you've confessed all sins, you know, because their sin, rejecting Allah, denying Allah, fighting Allah. This is not this is the major sin. This is the mother of all sins, right? So it might as well be all sins, right? Just by acknowledging and accepting that one sin, you have acknowledged everything else. بذنبهم فسحقا. So away with, again, you see how they translate سحقا, away with. That's, I think, the closest way to translate it in English. سحقا, بعدا, these two words, they have kind of like the same meanings. Away with the residents of the blaze, away with the people of hell. You can see sin here, they're being literal. One sin, their sin. Sahih International talks about alienation. Now you can see alienation is a masdar. Now he's translating it literally like a masdar. Suhqan is a masdar. Alienation is also a masdar. So again, this is very literal for the companions of the blaze. They will confess their sin. So away with the dwellers of the blaze. They will confess their sins. Again, same thing like we're seeing from before. Away with the inhabitants of the blaze. They will confess their sins. Damned are the inmates of the. Now you see the damned here, the meaning. Now this is showing their hal and also a dua at the same time. Like it's capturing their situation, they are damned, but also let them be damned, right? It's also like a dua, suhqan, yeah? So that's an interesting, and also away, like let them be away. You can also look at it as a dua or also as a hal. So they acknowledge their sins, but far removed, far removed. Now we are seeing a different, which is also closer to the meaning because suhqan, be far away, far removed. Future is used because it connects to previous sentences. Yes, yes. Again, this is still part of the future conversation, right? Even though the words are in Madi, but it is portraying an imagery of the future that is going to happen. So when they are translating it as if it has not yet happened and it will happen, right? So they acknowledge or they will confess their sins at that particular moment in time, not now, but in future. Even though in the Arabic we're reading it as it has already happened. We're reading it as it's already done, subhanallah. So they'll confess their sins, far away from forgiveness, companions of the blaze. And so they, let's see the layer translation. So they admit their fault, which earned them punishment. So damned, again, you see, and you can learn more about why this damned here. And he says, this is either an exclamation, how far these people are from the truth. So explaining their hal, their state, or an invocation, a dua against them, like we've explained, right? And then you can also click another footnote here, and it says the sequence of ayahs seem to have the evil humans end up among the demons of the blaze. So now you can see both the humans and the demons and the devils that were mentioned before ending up in the same fire as Sa'ir, and then conflate them as one group, right? So that's the idea. And again, we shall discuss this. How, I don't know if we talked about this. No, I think we haven't. So how evil a person has to be to end up where the demons and the devils are. Subhanallah. Think about that for a minute. Inshallah, we'll discuss this next time. Anyway, let's look at ayah number 12 and then we can stop at ayah number 12, inshallah. It's also not so long and also pretty straightforward. Not much happening in terms of grammar. So we have inna and alladhina, inna wasmuha, and we're going to call this mubtada, right? And of course, alladhina is ism mawsul, and whatever the sentence that comes after it is going to be, so this is ism mawsul. The sentence after is going to be the silatul mawsul. And then the silatul mawsul, we look inside it, we see yakhshawna, yakhshawna fi'al mudari'. And the fa'il, again, is the wawul jama'a, hum. Yakhshawna, hum yakhshawna. And then we see yakhshawna. Yakhshawna, they fear. The question that comes to mind is they fear what? So rabbahum is a maf'ul bihi. They fear their Rabb. So this is going to be our maf'ul bihi. And of course, rabba is a mudaf and the attached pronoun hum is a mudaf ilay. So this is, we have an idafa here. And then we have بالغيب. B حرف جار. الغيب اسم مجرور. And together they're going to be متعلقان. Oh, sorry. It's not متعلقان. This is حال. It's happening. This is a حال. Now remember when we discuss jar majroor, we say jar majroor can be a tricky one because it could be hal, it could be sifa, it could be just muta'alliq, it could be a number of things, right? So we have to figure out what kind of role it plays in the sentence. In this particular case, it is describing their state, their condition. Now, it's a hal of whom? That's an interesting question. There are two opinions, okay? There are two opinions, and we shall see this in the translation as well. Either it is bilghaybi, it goes back to whom, the whom in yakhshawna. That's opinion number one. Or bilghaybi goes back to rabbahum, opinion number two. What's the difference? It means that either yakhshawna bilghayb, they fear while being private, while they're being alone, away from people's eyes. They fear away from people's eyes. This shows their level of iman. Like when they're in private, their khushu is very high. So it describes the quality of these people. يَخْشَوْنَ بِالْغَيْبِ. Like, when somebody is alone, they don't really pretend much. They get to be themselves. So sometimes they might do certain things, certain sins, because nobody's watching them. But these people, when nobody is watching them, that's when their level of khushu is the highest. يَخْشَوْنَ بِالْغَيْبِ. When they're alone just with their Rabb, they fear Allah. They cannot commit any sins when they're in private. That's one meaning. The other meaning is if we say رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَيْبِ, Rabb goes back to Rabbahum, goes back to the huwa in Rabb. And what does that mean? That means that they fear their Rabb who is in the ghaib. They haven't seen their Rabb. How can you fear something that you haven't even seen it, felt, or you haven't experienced? Have they experienced this fire? And again, this is the implication. Allah has just described to us a sin in Jahannam, right? These people, they haven't even tested this fire. They haven't even seen this fire. They're just hearing explanations. And then they fear their Rabb, having not seen their Rabb, having not seen the punishment of their Rabb. And here the understanding is عذاب ربهم. So there's عذاب that is kind of missing here. يخشون عذاب ربهم بالغيب. They haven't seen this punishment. And yet they have so much khushu, so much fear of this punishment after it has been described before, right? So that's the other understanding. So either they are fearing privately, or they are fearing having not seen this punishment. Just from the description itself, it's enough to send shivers into their hearts. That is bil ghaib. That's the understanding of bil ghaib. I hope that's clear. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Now, لهم مغفرة وأجر كبير. This right here is a new sentence. But what is the connection between this and the previous one? So we said mubtada. Where's the khabar? So we notice that this entire sentence is actually the khabar of inna alladhina, right? So this sentence would be khabar inna, right? And then inside that sentence, you have lahum maghfiratun wa ajrun kabir. This is a common structure where you have jar majroor being muqaddam and the mubtada being muakhar. We've talked about this several times. So lahum would be muta'alliqani bil khabar muqaddam. And it's a normal, there's no ikhtisas, there's no special meaning that comes in this particular instance because, it's a normal way of saying it. All right? And of course, that means that maghfiratun would be what? Maghfiratun would be the khabar. Sorry, the mubtada muakhar. Mubtada muakhar. Right? And it's a normal sentence structure. Wa harf jar. And then you have ajrun. So ajrun would be معتوف, اسم معتوف to maghfiratun. Ajrun kabirun. We can see that there's also sifa happening there. So this would be our sifa. Ajrun kabir.
Sister Lam, can this whole thing, Maghfiratun wa Ajrun Kabir, be the whole thing with Mubtada because of Waw Atifa?
So technically that's how we learned in Baina to put things in one bucket, simplify things. So you can look at it that way. However, In the way they do grammar, they would they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't like put everything in one bucket and say this is mubtada. So they would say every single word. So in when you're doing i'rab in the technical sense, in the classical way of doing this, in the proper way of doing this, every single word has a grammatic role. Every single word. So that's how they will do it. So you don't put everything in one bucket like we did in Baina. Why did we do that in Baina? To simplify things so that we can understand it easily, right? And once you've understood it easily, then you'll be like, okay, I kind of understand the concept. But when it comes to the proper way of doing Arab, you would treat every single word individually and give it a grammatical label individually. But is it wrong to do that? To say like this whole thing is in the mubtada bucket? Not necessarily. It wouldn't be grammatically correct, but in understanding and simplifying, yes, you can do that. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, let's finally look at the translation and then we can finish this. So we'll see how bil ghaib has been translated. I think that's the interesting bit happening in this ayah. Okay. So we have inna, indeed, those in awe of their Lord without seeing him. So you see, this is one meaning. Without seeing him, bil ghaib goes back to Allah. That's the meaning he's going with. But he also says this can also mean that they are in awe of their Lord as much in private as they are in public. So he also offers the different meanings. So he kind of offers both meanings there. So those in of the Lord will have forgiveness and a mighty reward. Then surely for those who have awe of their Lord without seeing him, again we see the same meaning, that going back to Allah, they haven't seen their Rabb and they have so much fear of him, or they have so much. And again, this khashya is fear born out of love. They don't want to disobey Allah. They love him so much, they are afraid of disobeying, they are afraid of displeasing Allah. That's the idea of khashiyah here. And then indeed those who fear the Lord unseen, again, same thing, their Lord unseen, the Lord who is unseen. That's the understanding. Will have forgiveness and a great reward. But there is forgiveness and a great reward for those who fear the Lord, though they cannot see him, right? So most of them are going this بالغيب as a hal to Rabbahum. Verily, those who fear their Lord unseen, again, they do not see him nor his punishment in the hereafter. We discussed about this. Theirs will be forgiveness and a great reward. Surely, forgiveness and a mighty reward await those who fear Allah without seeing him. Most of them are going with this meaning. Those who fear their Lord in secret, theirs will be forgiveness. So you see now, this is a different meaning. Lord in secret. So this one, it goes back to the second meaning, not their Lord who they haven't seen, right? So those are some of the meanings that we have. And finally, we have the layered translation here. Those who fear their Lord without seeing him are guaranteed forgiveness and a great. Again, goes back to Ibn Ashur, sees this as going back to Allah. And really not much is happening in this ayah. And that brings us to the end of that ayah. I don't want to start the sarf. I think next week or rather the week after that, we'll look at the sarf of 10 to 12 and probably the Nahw of 13 onwards, inshallah. If there are any questions, again, feel free. If not, we can call this a day. وإياكم جزاكم الله خيرا. I think this is a good place to stop. All right. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. I'll see you guys inshallah next week for the explanation session. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
Week
وبركاته.
after Eid?
Sorry?
Week after Eid?
Sorry, not next week. Yes, you're right. Next week is going to be Eid week. Yes, we'll discuss in the group. Yeah, probably the week after that. Yeah, definitely. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.